Hi, I'm Marcus, and welcome to the License to Kill podcast, where pest control professionals meet cutting-edge expertise, industry insights, and a whole lot of camaraderie. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting your journey as a PMP, this podcast dives into everything that makes our industry tick. From advanced techniques and groundbreaking products to hilarious field stories and the real talk about the challenges we face in our industry. Join us as we explore the science, art, and community behind pest control, celebrating the people who work tirelessly to keep our world safe, healthy, and pest-free. As always, stay sharp, stay connected, stay legendary. Let's start the show.
Alrighty, Jorge. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Now we're going to be doing a little bit of checklist prep work for if people who are interested in taking the A.C.E exam. We're going to be going over the requirements, things you might want to prepare for, things you might want to get ready to do if you're anticipating getting this credential or taking this test, as well as any kind of master tips and tricks for those who are beginning to go down that journey. Jorge, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your journey to become an ACE and your credential, and let's start there.
Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Jorge. I live in New York City, and I am from Colombia. I might be, I'm not so sure, but I might be the youngest ACE ever, which means that when I was 19 years old, I joined pest control. I became a licensed tech, then an operator as soon as I could. Then by the age of 24, when I just met the proper requirements, I became an ACE. So for all of you guys, these young folks around who may be thinking of, skipping college and going ahead into the pest control industry, I can tell you, yes, you can do it, and you can take this as a career. But what is the ACE, right? So the Associate Certified Entomologist, it's a program by the Entomological Society of America that allows PMPs who are operators to further ahead in their careers and show how dedicated they are to the industry by providing knowledge. So what do you need to become an ACE, right? I'm sure a lot of you, when you go into LinkedIn and you see, people around, you may see titles like the BCE, the PCQI, or the ACE, and you wonder, like, what the hell is that? Well, for people to become an ACE, you must be in the pest control industry licensed for more than 5 years, either as a technician or as an operator with verifiable information, which you cannot just pull up and say, oh, I've been working in, for 5 years, and then you just were in the field for 2. It has to be verifiable.
Right.
So let's say that you are an operator for over 5 years, and you saw that you qualify for the ACE. What do you need to do? First is, the ACE is not for everybody, because a lot of people will say, oh, like I have met consultants, big title consultants, oh, I'm going to take the ACE, and they fail and they stop. So it's not for everybody. It's going to hit some people's egos. But if you are dedicated to the pest control industry and you want to be the best version of yourself, then it is for you. So what do you need, right? First thing first, you need to be an operator. And what is an operator? People may ask, especially those that are outside the country, in the UK and whatever. An operator is a pest control licensed person who's been in the industry for about more than 2 years, and has taken the core exam, the category exam, and then became a technician. And after a year or so on, took more credits and passed the exam for an operator. An operator can create its own company, can apply restricted use pesticides, and can train new technicians and apprentices. Right? So you do need to have that licensing. If you're a technician out there and you want to become an ACE, you need to upgrade to an operator ASAP. That's number one. Um, so once you are an operator and you know a lot, it is recommended that you study for the guides for the ACE. It is recommended that you have at least 40 to 50 hours of self-study, and I can recommend some classes here. I will. You do need to get a few books. The most important you need to gather for the ACE is the IPM for the urban professional. That is literally a guide for the Associate Certified Entomologist exam. Um, so where can you get that? You can get that in the ESA or Entomological Society of America website. You can just buy it. It's like $60,
Yep.
and it's gonna
In
give
fact, for ACE
like,
applicants, it's $49. IPM
So
for the urban professional, a study guide for this ACE.
yeah, people say that the content of that book, it's about 50 to 60% of the AIDS exam, and you only need to get 75% passing for you to get the ACE. Now, how many questions are in the ACE exam? There are 150 questions.
Right. And there's 4 versions of the test.
Well,
you,
it can be, as far as I know, it could be more. They can just mix it up, but there are only 600 questions, which means if you take the exam 4 times, there is a big chance you will have encountered all the questions already.
right, and 600 sounds like a lot of, like a pretty, but in
It's,
reality,
they,
it's
they
a
are
finite
they are
number.
not.
So exactly, if you can, study to digest and consume, having comprehensive knowledge of 600 questions, then literally whatever can be thrown at you, whatever version of the test, you should be familiar with what the question's asking for. Again, for this level of certification, this kind of accreditation, that is not asking for a lot in reality.
Yeah. Now, it's not about the title, but the journey. And let me tell you, it is absolutely fun to go through this thing. If I were given the option to do it again, hell, I'll do it again because I loved learning so much in the pest control industry. Um, so resources out there, you have the IPM for the urban professional, right?
Right.
You have the field guide from the MPMA, which is going to have like a lot of species. How many species do you need to learn for the exam? Guess how many, Marcus?
Say again. How many do we need to do? What?
How many pest species do you need to learn and control for the ACE exam?
What is it? 13 orders. 13 major orders
No,
for families.
more than 130 pest species.
Oh, it's individual species. But doesn't it
Yeah,
really just
yeah.
boil down to like 13 core orders?
I mean, as a macro group, yeah, but you do need because you can have several coleopterans, but they can be, a pest infesting, you know, wood thing, whatever, or it can be a store grain product. Like beetles, they can do a lot, right? So, like carpet beetles can be public health. So even though they are in the in the same group, they cause different kind of damage. So you do need to learn all of that. Um, so yeah, more than 130 species, and then you have to know the taxonomy. You know, you have to know the kingdom, phylum, class, gent, what's it called? Kingdom, phylum, class.
Come
Uh,
on, what's the acronym? I know you know it.
yeah,
It's just late at
yeah.
night.
You know, you know what stuck to me? What,
What's that?
I mean, a lot of what I heard was from Sylvia Kemir doing the A.C.E podcast. So when I was doing my study session and I was using the train in New York City, I was just listening to that back to back, right? And she says, well, an easy way to do it is you can just memorize the King Philip came over for good spaghetti,
That's what it is.
and
King
then
Philip came over for good spaghetti.
yeah,
I
and you
did
know what?
some. Well,
To this day, I still use that. So I highly recommend that podcast, which is online. But besides the podcast, what else can I do? Um, the NPMA on their website have a class for the A's. And why is that important? You want to practice, right? Uh, you want to have flashcards that you can just use to study a lot for the A's, right? Like, what kind of questions can you get from that? Well, the NPMA site, for every section you take, they give you an exam, and you can take that exam and actually know what you're missing. If you are missing one section, then you can just concentrate in that section. Um, People will struggle with the first and main section, which is inspection and identification, right? The eighth exam has four main categories: inspection and ID, which again, you will have to know how to inspect an ID for more than 130 pest species. If you are a mosquito and tick technician, or if you only do termites, then you will have to learn a lot. If you work mainly in the structural pest management, then it's not gonna be that difficult for you. Like me, like that's my specialty, structural pest management. So it wasn't that difficult, but I had to learn a lot.
so, would you recommend people take the prep exam courses and do like
Oh,
at least
definitely, I
one
did
prep
it. I
exam
did it.
course
Listen,
first
when I
before
when
taking the
I
actual? How long
when
do
I
they have
prepared,
from the time that they apply for their ACE before they have to schedule their
it,
proctored exam?
it's up to you, to be honest. It's up to you. Like me, I did not enroll for the ACE till I was ready to take the exam.
Hmm.
So there is no rush onto it. The most important thing is you do it right. Remember, there are 150 questions per take, so you don't have to struggle a lot. Just really concentrate. What did I do? Because I passed at the first try. What did I do that was successful? I gather every single question there could be out there, right? And a lot of people say, "Oh, go to Quizlet." Oh, all of that. No, I didn't go to Quizlet. What I did is I took the NPMA um, ACE class, and thanks to Sylvia, I got a scholarship in target specialty. Now, every year, or so on, every year they do a an online boot camp for the ACE. How much is that? It's about $120 per student, and it's a whole semester. It's about 2 3 hours per week.
Shout out to
And
Sylvia too. She's incredible, and she'll be joining us on LTK to do an ACE study session with us. So that's actually
yeah,
really cool. Yeah, that's there's a scholarship
yeah,
opportunities out there. You guys hear about that? Maybe maybe if you're ambitious, throw your hat in the ring. Maybe
yeah,
if you get a chance to cross some of our BCEs, or someone who might be able to help point you in the right direction. Those are some incredible resources right there.
yeah. So you take the class, right? Let's say you do it through. I did it both, but you can do the target or the MPMA, or you can do both. I did both because I really just got anxious about it. Um, sorry. So when I did the target, I did it live, and we were like 20 people. So every week there was a session, and after the session, we could take an exam. So it wasn't the exact same thing as the ACE, but it was very similar. If you know what I mean.
Yep. Let's talk a
Yeah.
little
So
bit about these two letters from a professional reference. It says on the page,
oh yeah, yeah.
these
So
should be from a current or former employer, major clients, professional colleagues, or others who can speak to your professionalism, entomological knowledge, and ethical standards. Um, Talk a little bit about what that process is like, and what you look for when you're writing a reference letter for someone, or someone who's coming to you requesting for a reference letter.
okay. So in Sylvia's training section, she also shows you how the letter should be made, right? Um, in on my end, it has to be somebody, either a client, or it doesn't have to be a friend, but either a client or a colleague or somebody who has worked with you in the past. On my end, I got the help of um, one of my masters. He, I mean, one of my teachers. He helped me out with that because I worked with him over a year on roach management. So he did a nice letter, this is my certifications. I worked with Jorge Bedoya for over a year, and I can testify that he's eager to work in the pest control industry, and he's committed to it, right? The fact that you are in the pest control industry and you are an operator, and you are, let's say right? You want to be an industry leader. You want to get technicians to have advancement, yada yada yada. You're a great candidate for the ACE because of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So people can just write about that and what you have done with LTK as a non-official organization. Um, so if you guys have connections, or your operator, or you really show that you want to help the pest control community, then it should not be difficult for you to get the letter. Now, how many do you need? You need 2 letters from people who see potential in you.
And
Once
do
you,
those
yeah,
letters, is it weighted, or is it preferred to have other entomologists um write those reference letters? Like is an entomologist going to weigh a little bit heavier than just like your supervisor
not
of your.
really. I did one from an entomologist,
Mm-hmm.
and I did one for a an employer.
Employer. So
Yeah,
they basically just really have to be character references.
yeah, basically. So that people say, oh, it's the most difficult thing to have somebody write something nice about you, right? Well, it really isn't. If it's not fake, if you're telling the truth, then it's not difficult.
So what would be some of those truths that you would hope that someone would promote about themselves? What are some of the things that you're looking for in a candidate or someone who approaches you and says, "Hey, Jorge, I want to be an ace." What questions do you have for them to ensure that these are people that you can vouch for and put your name behind?
Well, they have to show first of all commitment, right? If you only want to be an ace because you want to be a salesperson, or you want to be somebody who's who just feels like they know a lot and that's it and screw it. No, like I really want, in my personal philosophy, I really want people who want to help people the way I do, at least, right? Like I want everybody to stop struggling in pest control, and I want to have people the same way, right? Let's say new technicians that don't know what to do, and they are just being told do this and do that. If somebody comes across you with a question, be very humble and help them out. And when I see somebody doing actually that, I say, hell yeah, let's help this person. Just give back to your community.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
And
and
a sense of humility, a sense of service, um, and a willingness to learn, or a hunger for cooperating with others. I've found, what's the old expression? You get a lot further with a spoonful of sugar versus a spoonful of vinegar, and
oh
I
yeah,
think that's absolutely. If you're talking to people like you're Mr. Know-it-all and you have all the answers, and you're smarter than the next person or whatever, you're going to be iced out very quickly and very cold, and it's a very small community if you're not talking about a very large community. But if you're willing to eat a slice of humble pie, you're able to accept where your shortcomings are and know that that is a strength, because then when you need to ask for advice, or you know it strengthens you in your ability to network and know where to go for to seek out good information and good advice. And so the first the first step of that is knowing that you don't know. And so
exactly.
I think we're stronger as a team, and I think that's the benefits behind organizations like LTK, the NPMA, the ESA. Um, the more that we link arms and everybody can specialize in their little niche of knowledge, and then we all come together and the whole book is written. The full picture is painted, and that's what we need to strive for.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, so following up on the age requirements, right? Let's say you have the 5 years of experience, you have your license, right? So that's checklist number one. You can gather the two letters of recommendation, which again, if you are doing good to the pest control community, should not be difficult, right? So if you're not out there interacting and being proactive and trying to do better, then start now.
Right.
So okay, so you get the two letters of recommendation. You get the license. Um, Now you study, right? So target specialty class, which again, for every class you take, you are allowed an exam of, I think it's 25 questions. And once you are done with it, the last exam, it's going to be 150 questions. So you can practice like you are doing the ACE. Let's say you take that exam, right? And you get 60%. It's going to show you where you are failing. So you can concentrate in that thing and then do it again and then do it again. Yeah, taking that exam takes about 2 hours per take, sure. But every time you do it, you are checking what you know and what you don't know, right?
Which section do you think people struggle with the most, and which section do you think people are most overconfident and find themselves grasping for straws when they're actually taking the test?
Well, it's always going to surprise you because I thought I thought when I was taking the A's, I thought that I mean, the most hard question was going to be the 130 species, which is you know, inspection and ID, and I actually did pretty good on that one, and not so good on the other sections, like evaluation and monitoring.
Yes.
So if if you concentrate on a single one, you may do good, but keep in mind there is a reason why they are asking you for the 5 years of experience. Some questions in that exam are gonna be not in necessarily in textbooks, but actually people in the field, right? If you have field experience, you're gonna have some field experience questions. Um, and it's gonna be a little bit confusing, especially when it comes to bugs and flies and light traps and everything.
Right. Some of these guys who aren't so used to stretching out their academic skills, they've been handling those real world skills, those problem solvings in situations, and kind of adjusting that to look at things from a bit of an academic angle. I think that could definitely be
Yeah,
something that's
keep in mind,
more
keep in
difficult.
mind, a lot of BCEs probably will not pass the A's because it's very field guided.
Oh, that's really. But you know what though? That's nice because that means it's appropriately geared. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I call the A's Hannah Montana because it's the best of both worlds. Yeah. So, okay. So you study for the four sections, which again are inspection and ID, monitoring, treatment, and evaluation. Um, and it's not that easy because a lot of people will encounter new terms. And like I have a class on my own for German roaches, which is kind of like the A's, but different because it's applied to a specific pest. And I will
Right.
consider like mine may be more difficult a little bit, um, because I overdo the evaluation part. The Ace is actually pretty nice on people because it can be way harder than it is. And keep in mind, the Ace it's the minimum. The Ace it's the minimum of what you can achieve. So yes, concentrate on the Ace, but do not stop there. Do you know what happened when I finished up the Ace?
That's actually where I was going to go to next. So, kind of talk a little bit about that. So, leading up to the idea that, okay, you studied for the ACE, you've taken up the courage, you've gotten it, you've applied, you took your exam, you passed. Now you're an ACE certified entomologist. What can you do with that? What does that mean? How can people use this in their professional career to advance themselves? And what are the benefits from putting in all this work
Okay.
and all this
Do
training?
you do you know what it's the ISO 9001?
Yes.
Okay, can you describe it?
Um, yeah, me and you talked about this a couple weeks back. It's a certification for food handling and
Well,
manufacturing
no,
risk
no,
assessment, right?
it's
Isn't it?
it's it's not for necessarily food, food handling. It's a quality. Um, it's a third party quality certification. When you see glasses with the ISO 9001
Right, right.
or
Quality
yeah,
Pro or
yeah,
any of
it's
these
better than
other,
the
yeah.
Quali Pro. It is better than the Quali Pro though, because the Quali Pro it's only going to concentrate on the pest control management, and I don't know, special auditors for that. But the people who take the ISO 9001, the companies, when let's say you're a manager and you're doing a review for different companies, right? So you have X company who's going to give you at this price, and you have this other company, but this company has a ISO 9001 certification. One company is telling you, trust me, bro. You don't know if they actually are a quality company or not, or if they had solid processes or not. But the other company has been third party certified on their quality processes. So which company are they gonna choose?
The one
The
with a little
one
bit
that
more
they don't know
credentials.
any, yeah, the one that's third party, because it's not gonna be a biased selection. You are taking less of a risk by choosing the, you know, the company that has that certification. The ACE, it's something like that for pest control individuals, if you know what I mean. Um, you don't have to struggle onto whether hiring the proper PMP or not, because this person has already been certified that A is a fully operator and B has a broad knowledge and more than 5 years of experience.
Okay.
And that person is dedicated actually to the pest control industry. Um, I thought that when I became an ace, I was gonna be on top of the world, but no, no, it's not actually about the title, but the person.
Right.
Um, yeah. So even
It's
though I
what you
was an
do with it.
ace, yeah, even though I became an ace, guess how many times they have invited me to speak in New York City with the, I don't know, with the MPMA or anything? None, none. Even though other countries are pulling me in, you know, for a lot of people, oh yeah, you're an ace, yeah, UP, there are 2,000 more of you out there. So when it comes to field experience, yes, I will trust an ace. But if you expect to be like a big celebrity, then nah. So you have to know what you're actually doing. Like, what are your goals? Are just becoming an ace just because? Just because you want to just do it and that's it, or you actually have goals on that. You know what I mean?
Sure, but I guess the question is then, is what I was kind of alluding to, is what are some of the best goals like that one can utilize their ace for? Is it just like you said? Is it just to simply just be the best candidate when it comes to applying for your regular run of the mill technician position? Is it just a way to kind of look a little higher or when standing next to your peers, or is there a, a like line of jobs that maybe become available or
Oh
accessible once
yeah,
you do
yeah,
this kind of
yeah.
accreditation? Like, you know what I'm
I
saying? Like, what are some of the noble causes that if someone who has their right goals aligned, what can they do? How can they maximize the use of their ace?
Well, what I've seen people do is they go and qualify for upper management positions or sales, right? So a lot of people who are rep sales have an ACE, certification. Like the people from Nitus or MGK or um, Control Solutions, etc. Right? So if you have an ACE, then you can, it depends on you, but you can qualify better to have a nice position on those kind of companies. You can also work in training. You can train a lot of people on basic pest management, and yeah, you become a field supervisor depending on who you are, right? It's not just getting the A's, but actually proving who you are and how committed you are to the pest control industry. Because you can be an ace, but then you have to compete with other aces. So what's gonna make the difference on you? You must keep studying. The ace is the basic. Um, even if you become a BCE. A BCE is just a certification. It doesn't, and I'm not gonna mention anybody, but I know some BCEs who kind of struggle on the pest control industry because of that, or they have like big egos. So it is the basic. Now, when you go to the ESA portal, it says you must enroll for the A's. You have to contact Willet, which is the person in charge um, for the certification exam, and they will ask you for the letter of recommendation. They will ask you for your, I think, a copy of your license.
Right.
They will, yeah,
A
you have to
resume.
fill in the they will not ask you for your resume, but they will send you to a link that you have to put where you worked and for how long, right? The people at ESA will not look at it. The system automatically does it,
Oh, okay.
right? So if you, oh, I was 4 years an apprentice, 1 year a technician, and 1 year an operator, you don't qualify. You have to be licensed for more than 5 years, either as a tech and an operator, or as an operator.
Right.
Okay, you do that, then you must get a proctor.
Yeah,
Now,
talk a little bit
this
about that. That's another major interesting part for people who are trying to apply.
okay. So proctor is somebody qualified who's gonna look over you, um, just to make sure you don't cheat. So you can have a BCE, A's, A's, whatever, do it, or you can go online and go to proctoru.com. Guess how much it costed me to have a proctor online to take the exam at my house?
Like 30, 40 bucks, something like that.
Yep, $35. People think
Right
it's
down
gonna
the
be
middle.
200. Oh, it's only $35. What you have to do. The way I did it is well, if you want to know what I did is I took everything. I took the target, I took the MPMA, I took Sylvia's. I did over 300 flashcards. Every time I did the MPMA and the target side and I failed, I took all the questions that I failed and put them all together in flashcards and review them over and over again.
Let's talk cheddar a little bit. How much did all of that cost when you put together um, the study guide materials, the prep courses,
Overall,
the
everything is like
application
600.
fees?
Yeah, everything is like $600. The most
600.
expensive thing is gonna be the application thing, which is gonna be about $450. Then the book is not that expensive. I got my scholarship through Target, and then the MPMA thing, I don't know what it was, like $200, 150. So it wasn't really that expensive. It may go 700, but that's it. It's really not the most crazy thing in the world.
So you're talking $600, $700 to have,
Everything.
major impact for your career if you're someone who's a long-term industry, player. Someone who's going to take this serious, who's been in it for a while, and who's really looking to put a stamp on their name. To tell the rest of the industry that, hey, you're a serious technician and you're here and you know it. So that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
That's actually a very reasonable price, all things considered.
Oh, yeah. So it's really not that difficult. Again, I passed at the first try because I aim not to pass, right? Remember, you have only 600 questions. So what I did is I wanted to gather as many questions as possible. When I ran out of questions from the MPMA and from the target side, the only side to get more questions was the actual exam. So when I sign up for the exam, I was not aiming to pass the exam. I was aiming to gather more information and maybe pass the exam at the third try. So I send the email to these people. I send the two letters. I put in my information for how many years I was in the industry, pay the fee, um, sign up for Proctor.U. They gave me a code, the people at the ESA. I input the code in Proctor.U, da, 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 and I had the day and the time. Um, I studied the whole night. It's not recommended you do it, but again, I was not aiming to pass. So I studied the whole night and I had, 3 cups of coffee. So when I took the exam, I did it at my house. I think it was on a Saturday or Friday. Everybody was out. I showed the people around so they can see I had nothing, and then I had an empty paper where I was gonna write like the most difficult questions I found. So the exam began. How much time do you have? You have about 3 hours, and it's 150 questions, which means you have 2 minutes per question. I don't remember if you could go back to the questions or not, but it's recommended that you review each question, and you have again the 5 sections: section one, section two, section three, and section four, and whatever. So I did that. The person there was always watching me through the video camera, and that's it. I was just gathering the questions. You have strange questions in the ACE exam, and if you don't know how IGRs work, you're gonna be in trouble. First of all,
So would it be fair to say that the ACE isn't particularly difficult, but it is specific, right? So there's no like trick questions. It's not trying to gotcha or anything like
well,
that. It's
well,
just very
a lot of the
specific
questions
information. And if you
are
just go in there trying to wing it, off the seat of your pants because you think you know something about pest control, that's probably not what they're asking about.
yeah, like most questions have all correct answers, but you must choose the one that's the most accurate.
Right.
So, oh, I've been in the industry. That's not the right question. Boom, that's not the right answer. That's it. Um, so I did that, and again, you only need 75% to pass, which means 75% is what? 100 and something questions? Uh, 150, yeah, something like that. Um, yeah, so I did it and I passed at the first try, and it took me like an hour and so to do it because again, I was not aiming to pass. I was just aiming to gather the questions. And when I say pass, oh my god, I passed. Now what? Now you can post it on LinkedIn. Hey, well, you cannot post it on LinkedIn right away. First of all, you have to wait until you get actually verified. So you want to scream at the world you passed, but you cannot because you actually want to make it official. So you send an email back to these people, hey, I passed. So it's gonna take a while for what's the name of that site to correctly to have your name on it, so you can actually post online, hey, I passed my A's. So you pass your A's and you get the 3 letters after your name, and cool. You do have to get new credits. It's not like you stop and that's it. No, it is a continued education certification, which means every 3 years you have to show that you are in the pest control industry either through CEUs or classes or whatever you do, right?
Right.
Just like the BCEs. And that's the main difference between the ACE and the PHE. The PHE, which is the public health entomologist, is a one-time thing, and you don't have to renew it. But the ACE If you stop, you will lose it. Now, let's talk about the code of ethics, right? You cannot talk about, bad about other people. You lose that, right? You lose the trash talking. What else? You have to always promote.
Was that
Yeah.
particularly difficult for you, Jorge, losing the trash
Oh, it
talking?
was. It was. Well, I mean, nowadays I have a better perspective of it, right? I don't see people as dumb or whatever. I see that everybody's my colleague, and if they win, I win. Some people have bigger egos than others, but I don't mind. Is they are biased. That's not my problem. But yeah, but I do wanna change the pest control industry. Um, you cannot call yourself an entomologist, right? You see the BCEs out there. Oh, I'm an entomologist. Um, but if you're an ace, you cannot call yourself that. You always have to follow through the associate certified entomologist or the ACE. If you do not follow through and you put in your business cards entomologist and somebody sees that, they can report it to the ESA and they can have the ACE removed from you. So if you screw up, you will find consequences. It is a conditional thing. Um, yeah, so I've been an ace for about 2 years now in March. It's been cool. Again, it's not about the title, but the journey. The journey has helped me significantly way more than the actual title, right? Learning how to do IPM has been fantastic for my career because I didn't know what IPM was. Even when I finished up the A's, I didn't know what IPM was.
Right, and I know you've
Um,
talked about some of those international courses really helped you to hone in on those evaluation skills and IPM, and then also APM, assessment versus
yeah,
integrated
like,
uh, pest management.
like, yeah, like all of that, all of it is part of actual IPM. Um, and again, the A's, even though it's very difficult, it can be way more harder than that. What I do is I encourage you all. Cool, study for the A's, pass it, but don't stop because you still have to manage, food safety, risk management. You have to study bias. You have to study evaluation. You have to, if you want to be a teacher, it's not just getting the ACE title, but you must learn how to actually teach and make a difference out there. That's what I tell people. Just if you want to really do it and be successful, just try to be different, and the money will come along with it.
So there
Right?
you go,
What
folks. Don't chase it
what
for the title. Don't chase it for the prestige. Have your heart in the right place, and the marketplace will reward you accordingly.
Yeah, it's just the proper way to do it. What I did is after I took the A's, again, it wasn't about the title, but after I took the A's, I was able to input all of that information onto German roaches, right?
Right.
Because again, and guess what? I have a great class for that. And you know how much time it takes for me to apply the A's information plus the roach thing? So far, it's been 32 hours just on that, on a single species. So even though they recommend you study only for 40 hours, my friend, this thing is way longer.
So it's just a stepping stone, the
Yeah,
beginning of a
yeah,
journey, if you will.
yeah, especially for the new technicians. Again, I'm only 26 years old. I got my A's when I was 24, which again was the like, as soon as I hit that 5 years mark, I got it. So yeah, for all of you who want to make a difference and study a lot, like I know you may have read the Malis and the Truman. at the IPM, and you were really out there kicking it, you can achieve to be an ace easy. But don't stop in there. Um,
So then
there
one
is
final
even
thing then, what how does Jorge Bedoya want to change the industry, and for future aspiring aces, what kind of things should be on their heart? How would
um,
you like to make an
the
impact?
the most important thing is don't get comfortable. A lot of technicians feel like they are good at what they do because they've been doing it for so many years. Even if you're an ace, even if you have 20 years of experience, don't get comfortable. Every year in the pest control industry, new challenges arise. If you want to be the best professional at your field, you must not get comfortable. Um, I tell people, yes, go and learn from new techniques out there, but keep in mind a lot of it is going to be for product development and selling. Don't do it just to apply chemicals. Do it because you want to help your community, because you want to help people at high risk. Go and apply IPM. Go do it for helping your community. That's what I do. It like for every PMP that I talk to, and you have noticed that even with Steven, right? I talk with him by myself for hours sometimes, just because I really want him to do better. Like, don't just be an apprentice, don't just be a technician, be the best version of yourself. By doing so, you're helping your customers as well.
Well, I definitely want to
Yeah.
extend a thank you for that, and show a ton of gratitude and appreciation for making yourself available in the group. And I hope that other listeners and audience members know that that's a kind of a profound feature of the LTK group, is that starting off techs, new techs, seasoned techs, veteran techs, doesn't matter what your level of the game is. High quality conversations are occurring with the people who have the right intentions, who do care about their community, who are highly skilled, who are trained, whether they're ACEs, whether they're BCEs, whether they're just various different managers or specialists throughout the nation. We are able to have those conversations, we're able to have them daily, and we were able to have it again here tonight, doing a prep list checklist for the ACE. So thank you so much for giving your time. Thank you so much for talking to us, kind of going over what you need, what to expect if you intend to take the test, and we just really appreciate you for showing your insight.
My pleasure, man. Let's keep talking in the group.
All right, brother, man. Well, you have a blessed one, and we'll keep it going.
Thanks for tuning into the Licensed Skill Podcast. We hope you found today's episode helpful, informative, and engaging. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcast platform and leave us a review. It really helps us to reach more listeners like you. Have a question or a topic that you'd like us to cover in a future episode? Connect with us through our Facebook, YouTube, and most importantly, our Discord. Until next time, this is your host, Marcus, reminding you to stay sharp, stay legendary, stay connected.